We know about our universe's past. The Big Bang Theory predicts that all matter, time, and space began in an incredibly tiny, compact state about 14 billion years ago. And we know about the present. Scientists' observations of the movement of galaxies tell us that the universe is expanding at an accelerated rate. But what about the future? Do we know how our universe is going to end? Cosmologists have three possible answers for this question, called the Big Freeze, the Big Rip, and the Big Crunch. To understand these three scenarios, imagine two objects representing galaxies. A short, tight rubber band is holding them together. That's the attractive force of gravity. Meanwhile, two hooks are pulling them apart. That's the repulsive force expanding the universe. Copy the system over and over again, and you have something approximating the real universe. The outcome of the battle between these two opposing forces determines how the end of the universe will play out. The Big Freeze scenario is what happens if the force pulling the objects apart is just strong enough to stretch the rubber band until it loses its elasticity. The expansion wouldn't be able to accelerate anymore, but the universe would keep getting bigger. Clusters of galaxies would separate. The objects within the galaxies, suns, planets, and solar systems, would move away from each other until galaxies dissolved into lonely objects floating separately in the vast space. The light they emit would be redshifted to long wavelengths with very low, faint energies, and the gas emanating from them would be too thin to create new stars. The universe would become darker and colder, approaching a frozen state also known as the Big Chill, or the heat death of the universe. But what if the repulsive force is so strong that it stretches the rubber band past its elastic limit and actually tears it? If the expansion of the universe continues to accelerate, it will eventually overcome not only the gravitational force, tearing apart galaxies and solar systems, but also the electromagnetic, weak and strong nuclear forces, which hold atoms and nuclei together. As a result, the matter that makes up stars breaks into tiny pieces. Even atoms and subatomic particles will be destroyed. That's the Big Rip. What about the third scenario, where the rubber band wins out? That corresponds to a possible future in which the force of gravity brings the universe's expansion to a halt and then reverses it. Galaxies would start rushing towards each other, and as they clumped together, their gravitational pull would get even stronger. Stars, too, would hurtle together and collide. Temperatures would rise as space would get tighter and tighter. The size of the universe would plummet until everything compressed into such a small space that even atoms and subatomic particles would have to crunch together. The result would be an incredibly dense, hot, compact universe, a lot like the state that preceded the Big Bang. This is the Big Crunch. Could this tiny point of matter explode in another Big Bang? Could the universe expand and contract over and over again, repeating its entire history? The theory describing such a universe is known as the Big Bounce. In fact, there's no way to tell how many bounces could have already happened, or how many might happen in the future. Each bounce would wipe away any record of the universe's previous history. Which one of these scenarios will be the real one? The answer depends on the exact shape of the universe, the amount of dark energy it holds, and changes in its expansion rate. As of now, our observations suggest that we're headed for a big freeze. But the good news is that we've probably got about 10 to the 100th power years before the chill sets in. So don't start stocking up on mittens just yet. Anxious about how
The end of the world is a thought that frightens many people and has been predicted for hundreds of years, and none more so than by religion. Ancient texts and prophecies have definitively stated how life on Earth as we know it will end, and although there are varying accounts of how exactly it will happen, they all point to the same terrifying conclusion. Here are 10 ways religions predict the world will end. Number 10 are the 7 suns. Unlike other apocalypse scenarios, the end of days, according to Buddhism, actually has a roughly established time. It's believed that the world will be destroyed around the year 4600, long after our lifetimes, but still sooner than anyone wants. Prior to the apocalypse, humanity will hit a moral low point and will literally be hunting one another with swords in hand. Life expectancy will hit an all-time low as well, with few people apparently surviving past 10 years old. That's when the Maitreya will arrive, bringing enlightenment to almost the moralist world. Unfortunately, soon after that, 6 more suns will appear in the sky, one at a time, with each additional star causing more and more destruction until the entire planet is nothing more than a fireball, and everything is dead. Number 9 are the dead return. In Judaism, like many other religions, it's believed that a person's soul is immortal, and when we die, our souls join God in the other world while our mortal bodies rot. But when the end of days comes, God restores our bodies and essentially stuffs our souls back into them. Before that happens, a Jewish leader and king will redeem Israel and become the Messiah, while every other nation on the planet suddenly recognizes that the God of Israel is the only one true God. It is said that it is then that the entire earth is destroyed in a cataclysmic way, leaving none alive. Thus, everyone is resurrected and judged based on their faith. Finally, seeing that the old world was flawed, God creates a new world and a new heaven, both of which are a paradise. Number 5 is moral decline and chaos. A prophecy that is detailed in Hadith, which is said to be the sayings and traditions associated with the Prophet Muhammad, tells of the day of reckoning when annihilation and resurrection will both affect the world's population. In the days leading up to it, there will be a substantial increase in violence, anarchy, betrayal, and sexual immorality, along with a number of devastating natural disasters. Dajjal, the Islamic version of the Antichrist, will do battle with Jesus, the messenger of God, and Jesus will win. Eventually, a sweet-scented breeze will flow across the land, mercifully taking the lives of all believers, while leaving the sinners and non-believers alive to suffer. All of the world's dead will rise, and a colossal fire will start in Yemen, bringing everyone to one location where they will be judged by God. Number 3 is the rapture. While some parts of the Bible tell of love and faith, other parts seem like they're straight out of a horror movie. In the New Testament's book of Revelation, the end of days is described in chilling detail, with devastation sweeping the earth as the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse arrive. An earthquake rocks the entire planet as lightning arcs across the sky right before a hailstorm of fire descends from the skies, destroying a third of the world's trees and grass. All hell essentially breaks loose, with rivers becoming poisoned, darkness covering the land, and human-faced locusts killing those without the seal of God. But perhaps the most horrifying thing is that all fresh water will turn to blood and the sun will scorch the earth. And number 1 are the cyclical eras. According to the Hindu faith, our universe is far from the first, and certainly won't be the last one that exists. In fact, there are 3 gods who are responsible for an endless cycle of creation, preservation, and finally destruction. First, Brahma, the grandfather, creates the universe from which humanity comes into being. After its completion, the god Vishnu steps in to ensure the universe is preserved until Shiva destroys it, simply so Brahma can start the process over again. But before Shiva's elimination of the universe, it's believed that humans will become greedy and evil, hurting, stealing, and killing. That is, until a being called Lord Kalki arrives, armed with a massive sword and riding a white horse. Kalki will punish the worst offenders, and then everyone will die.
Hey guys, another beautiful day out here. We're getting ready to go down to the beach. We're gonna swing by, pick up some coffee. Holy cow!
Oh my God! Oh my God!
See that thing?
Yes.